The Super Mario Brothers movie from 2023, from this year. I remember hearing and all the buzz. There was a lot of hype for this movie, and people were mad about Chris Pratt being Mario, and I think I was a little bit too, because it just didn't seem right, and what they showed in the trailer didn't sound quite right. But whatever they did, and I think they did some overdubs or whatever it was, but it sounds good. Chris Pratt's voice is at least passable, and I'm not mad about it. There is one voice that I'm mad about. We'll get to that when we get to that, because I have it as a note in my notepad when we get to that part of the review. But for now, I'll just say the basic plot. So it's Mario. So Mario is a plumber. So is Luigi. They're together. It follows the games pretty well as you could with such a loose sort of concept that Super Mario Brothers is. They start you off with the brothers, they're plumbers, and then they end up trying to fix a water main break in the city. But then go through a mysterious pipe and end up in a magical world filled with different places like the Mushroom Kingdom and then the Bowser's. There's all these, all the different places in Mario. So they have all the different sort of stages they show briefly, and I feel like if we get to have more of these movies, they'll show more of these places. Like they just showed Yoshi for a little bit. They showed just a little bit of Yoshi, so I feel like they're saving Yoshi for the next movie, which I think is perfectly fine. Because I think they're gonna keep making these, because this was huge. This made a lot of money. It made over $1 billion, I think, and we'll get into that when we get to the box office. But yeah, I didn't, and I was close to going to the theaters to see this, but I didn't quite go, and I ended up waiting for streaming, but it was on streaming, so boom, it worked out. It was on Amazon Prime. It is on right now if people want to check it out. But yeah, so like I said, the basic plot: Mario is in this world he doesn't know much about. He ends up meeting Princess Peach. Bowser is trying to take over the entire world in this dimension, obviously, because we have the real world that Mario and Luigi are from. At least that's the lore that this movie is giving us, which I think works for the story generally. Like, I think for the source material given, they did like a pretty good job of turning that into a feature-length film. But yeah, Mario then has to go try to rescue Luigi because Luigi has been captured by Bowser. That's the main plot of the movie, and of course, just stop Bowser in general because he's trying to take over the world. And it's a simple enough plot, but so is the game's plot, and it overall works generally. It's not an amazing piece of cinema, but I enjoyed it, and the animation is really good. Like, even if you don't love the story, which I had no problem with, other than maybe it's a little simple, but that's the point of the game, so I think it works, like I said. But the visuals are just fantastic. If you can get nothing else out of it, the visuals. Primordial Sound. What's up, Doc? Hey. Yeah, we got a shout out for Primordial Sound. Let's give the other kind, too. How are you doing? Did you stream today? Sorry if I missed it. I've been doing stuff. I had to have a nap. I was so tired today. Been doing things, getting ready for tonight, for this stream, in fact. But hope you're doing well. If you had a stream, I hope it was good. I'm good, yeah, stream, but it was a short one. Yeah, just a quickie. I get you. I understand. We've all been there. We've all been there for show. Alright. Let's do the other kind of shout out. Thank you, Primordial Sounds. Everyone should follow Primordial Sounds if you haven't already. But we're talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie, and if anyone, I haven't said this, but if anyone's talked about this, and you want to talk about this movie, and who knows, maybe you're watching this movie later on YouTube or something, and you want to join the Discord and talk about movies in the future. And if you want to talk about this movie right now, pop in the Discord and talk with me about it. I'll pop you up and I'll bring you in. You can be like my radio caller. I could be Frasier. You could be one of the various celebrity guests that phoned in on Frasier. But if people want to do that, they can. If not, that's okay. But yeah, because this is a huge movie. Probably a lot of people saw it. Spaghetti, did you see this movie? Primordial Sounds, did you see this movie? I I kind of liked it. I think it was. I don't think it was amazing, but it was entertaining enough, and it looked really good, and it captured the games decently well. I thought. I thought I was the only one who has seen Yoshi. It goes so fast. No, Yoshi is in there. He's in there for a little bit. They show him. Well, like they show a whole bunch of Yoshis. I don't know if they show us our Yoshi. Because the classic Yoshi is green, but they show like the Yoshi world. But maybe he was in there because they show like a whole bunch of Yoshis there for a little bit. But yeah, absolutely. Guitar button. I don't think I have that as a command. You haven't seen this new Mario movie. I just saw that now. Yeah, that's fair. I didn't see it until it was on streaming. It's on Amazon Prime now, at least where I am in Canada. Maybe it's not in the USA. Who knows? It's different everywhere, right? But I feel like it probably would be still on there, but I don't know. Because like I said, I live in Canada. But it was fun. Let's get into I got the Rotten Tomatoes here. What it says, 59%, and people were like kind of mad that this wasn't getting like amazing critic scores, but I don't know. I can't get that mad at the critics, and that's not that bad a score. It's not like it's got a 14 or something. It's 59. That's over half of the critics still sort of liking it, so I don't think that's that bad. And then the audience score of 95. Now that's too high. But I do think it's like I would give it a little higher than 59, and I would definitely give it lower than 95. So I don't agree with either of them that much. But let's click on the score, and it gives you the average. So it's for the critics, it's an average of 5.8. So it's about the same, pretty close to the same as the percentage, anyway. And then 95 is 5.7 out of 5, or 4.7 out of 5. So it's pretty close to perfect as well. So. I don't quite agree with that, but let's read the critics' consensus. Well, it's nowhere near thrilling. Where it's nowhere as near as blah, blah, blah. I can't read. I can't speak. Well, it's nowhere near as thrilling as turtle tipping your way to 128 lives. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is a colorful, albeit thinly plotted, animated adventure that has about as many Nintendo as Nintendo's as Nintendo's. I get what they're saying there, but I think that it was fun enough, even though the plot there's not much there. It's pretty standard, but like I said, that's what the game is like. So it's like making or criticizing that part of it seems irrelevant to me because that's the games. That's the source material. They're trying to be like the source material. So if you're making a note of that, then maybe you don't like Mario. Because this is for the fans. That's absolutely what it is. That's why the fans love it so much. Because they did do a good job of representing the games. I do believe that. Audience says, wahoo! That's funny. That's all the audience says, wahoo! It is. I feel it. It is today. I feel it. Spaghetti, do you want to talk on the Discord about this movie? If you don't want to, it's okay. But just let me know if you pop into the Discord. Into the Movie Talk channel, and I'll bring you up. But, you don't have to. If you don't want to. I get you. But you've seen the movie, so I was like, I thought, hey, maybe. I'm going to have a little more water here. Let's read some of the reviews in the Rotten Tomatoes here. Ooh. Let's see. This lively computer-animated take on the video game just opened, and it's already the biggest box office smash of 2023, despite lapses into dull and disposable. It's also a godsend for parents seeking family entertainment for the 5-year-old and all of us. So it's saying that it's sort of like run-of-the-mill, but it's still kind of good. So I guess I get what they're saying. Because, even though it is like the games, the plot is generic in a way, but I think they do a good job of working it. And so did Peter Travers, top critic here, so there you go. Let's read a bad one. It is the laziest possible version of a Mario movie. And for most viewers, young and old, that'll be totally acceptable. I don't know, the laziest. I guess he means because it's fan service, but that's what people want. So I don't know. Just giving the people what they want isn't necessarily lazy, and I don't think it's lazy at all. I mean, I know they mean the plot is lazy, but just the whole film. To make a film at all is not. It's hard to do, and I think they did a good job of taking the source material and giving the people what they wanted. The whole package is a deranged mishmash of overstimulating elements. Yeah, no, I get what you mean, but that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to remind you about the games. Like, remember this thing in the game? It's supposed to do that. That's the point. The sneaky surprise here is Jack Black playing Bowser. He's hilarious. Yeah, Jack Black's probably the best voice. I think most people can agree on that. A frantic Easter egg hunt of a film that does the bare minimum to please its loyal fan base. Yeah, but they do a good job of it. So again, I don't agree with that one. One more good review and then we'll move on. Simple but effective for anyone who grew up with Mario in their lives. That, yes. Agreed. Alright. That's the Rotten Tomatoes. Let's look at the IMDb. 7.1 out of 10. See, this is closer to where I would put it. The IMDb is more what I would liken it to. But 120, the popularity is going down because, although this was a huge hit though, so even that, I don't think that's going to hurt this movie because it made so much money. It doesn't matter anymore if the popularity goes down. Chris Pratt. People had a problem with him. I liked him generally. I think that it was better than I thought it was going to be. I also was not psyched when I heard about that, and when I saw the trailer, I was like, this looks like not a good choice for Chris Pratt's voice. Hey, that rhymed, but it was actually better than I thought. And Anya Taylor-Joy was good as Peach, I thought. Charlie Day, I think, worked as Luigi. I think Jack Black was great as Bowser, the best one, probably. Although everyone did a pretty good job, except for, and we'll get into it. But yeah, we had the little cameo from Charles Martinet, who is the original voice of Mario for all the games and stuff. John DiMaggio, who's a famous voice actor who's done, like, from Adventure Time, he's Jake the Dog, and then Futurama, and so many different cartoons. But Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. I didn't love that voice. I know we'll get into that a little bit more. But everyone else was good. Keegan-Michael Key, Seth Rogen. Even though some people was like, oh, it's just Seth Rogen's voice, it's Donkey Kong. But if you can, like, disassociate that and just imagine a world where Seth Rogen doesn't exist, try to really immerse yourself in the movie, and just say, hey, you know what, maybe this is what Donkey Kong's voice sounded like. Maybe Donkey Kong's voice does sound like Mother Love and Seth Rogen. You know, I think it worked well enough anyway. But some people were bugged by that. It didn't bug me as much. Fred Armisen, I didn't like his Cranky Kong. We're moving on. Let's look at the box office information because you know it's just massive. $100 million budget, which it's a good looking animated movie, so it's like that's fair. You gotta have a pretty high budget for that. But then it grossed over $1 billion. That's just insane. 1,361,181,000. Like, that's such a good growth. Like, that's insane. But good on them. It's hard to make a movie that people will go see, and especially to, like, break box office records. I feel like it's getting harder because it's getting harder to get people to go out to the movies. You know, that's what I feel like. Because lots of movies are failing. So many movies are bombing. I feel like we're getting more bombs than hits nowadays. That's what it seems like. But yeah, that is all that. The internet stuff. Let's look at my notes. Super Mario Brothers movie notes. They love to remind you that they made Minions. So at the beginning of this movie, you get the little illumination, you know, the studio logo opening of the movie, and it's this right away. They're like, remember, they have a little Minion thing at the beginning. It's like, remember what we did. We made Minions. That's like our mark on society. Remember the Minions. Illumination. I don't have anything wrong with that. I just thought it was kind of funny. The Super Mario Brothers song. So yeah, they have this. I think it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I think that's the one. The rap from it was good. I felt like I had to mention it. Everyone mentions it. I had to mention it too. It's good, you know. Just one of many examples in this movie of them catering to the fans. And then the real voice of Mario makes an appearance, which I already said. But it's just a little cameo, but it was... and some people were like, oh, he should have been Mario, but I don't know. I think Chris Pratt did a good job, and I think that if he was doing like that level of Mario the whole time, then it would have been maybe a little distracting. Like, it's me the whole time, that energy, it would have been a little bit much. But I think it works in this movie with just him as a cameo. I think I like that. I like the Mario emote spaghetti. Kind of weird, but also cool that Mario plays the NES. So yeah, it's sort of meta in a way. You got Mario playing an NES. And in this universe, does the Mario game exist? Because this is the Mario movie. I wondered about that. I was like, so can he play a game? Can he play his own game? But no, they show him playing some other game. But I thought that was weird that they chose to include a little quick scene of him playing NES. It was kind of weird, but it was kind of cool too. This is deeply conflicting. Yeah, it is. It is sort of weird. It's like, huh? How is that possible? How are you playing the console of which you were the release title that came with the console? Like, do you have that game? Do you have Dunk Hunt? But maybe it doesn't exist. I would have liked that to be explained. Like, what was the launch title? What was the launch title for in this universe? Was it Tetris instead or something? Maybe? Anyways, I digress. I thought that was just kind of weird. But kind of cool, but kind of weird. So moving on. They try to fix this water main break, but destroy other pipes instead. So they're plumbers, obviously. That's like the main thing that they do. Or, you know, that's the idea, that they're plumbers, right? So they are trying to fix this water main break in the city, and so they go down to the sewer, but then they start fucking up more shit, and you know what? It's fine if they explain what happened later, but they don't, and we'll get into that later. I have another note later, but I thought that they should have at least explained what happened. But yeah, that's what happened here. Is the water main was destroyed, and they're trying to fix it, and they just made it worse. But moving on. The animation is great. I've already said this, but I think the movie looks so good. The whole time I'm just kind of like, this is fun to look at. Even if, like, there's not much substance here, it's entertaining. And I think that alone is something of value. And it takes a lot to make something look good and to emulate the source material this way. It really looks like the games, and it feels like the games in a movie. So I think they accomplished that pretty well. What else do we got here on my notes? Peaches song. So I had to say, like, I saw this song before the movie. It was all over TikTok and the internet, and it was like, peaches, 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 ha, love you. And it's catchy. You can't deny that it's not catchy. Speaking of which, speaking of TikTok, I'm on TikTok if people are into it, but no pressure. If not, I'll just put it in the chat. It's also in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Moving on though, let's see here. So, Cranky Kong's voice does not fit him. and I said this sort of briefly, but yeah, it just didn't work for me. It was Fred Armisen, and I wanted Cranky Kong's voice to be a little higher, like in the games. Like, yeah, you know, it just didn't seem right to me. It was a little low. Fred Armisen didn't seem like the right pick for that. Maybe I'm crazy. That's a lie I've learned. We're not doing that yet. Save that for later. But why Princess Peach and not Queen Peach? So, this is sort of a note for all the games, so it doesn't really make sense. I guess in this is a different alternate universe, right? So maybe that's all the explanation that's needed. But it does feel, it's kind of weird, right? That it's just Princess Peach and she's not a queen or anything. And she's the only one there, but she's still just forever a princess. It doesn't make monarchical sense, if that's a phrase or a word. But it is what it is. It doesn't bother me that much. I just thought it was kind of interesting that there is no king or queen. There's just a princess. That's it. Just princess. Anyway, moving on. Why did the fire flower fizzle out? So there's a fight part where Mario is fighting Donkey Kong, and there's a fire flower power up, and Mario goes to touch it and it just like fizzles out. And I didn't understand that. I don't get why it fizzled out and it didn't work. I don't get why he didn't get the power. Maybe that's something I just didn't understand, but it didn't make sense to me, so I made a note of it. Next note is the Mario Kart scene feels a little forced. Yeah, it feels a little weird that the Mario Kart shop is located in Donkey Kong's jungle. Seems a little weird. But it also just seems like, oh, we have to go somewhere. We have a destination to get to. Where are we going to go? How are we going to get there? Mario Kart, of course. And it just feels like the most obvious tie-in. This one does feel a little hammered on for me, so I get what some of the critics kind of mean by them really hammering on all the things from the games and stuff. So Mario Kart felt a little bit forced in there, but it worked well enough, I guess. But at that point I was like, okay, we get it. You gotta just ram in as much stuff you can for the fans. But yeah, that one did seem a little forced for me anyway, personally. It's a metaphor for society. What's a metaphor for society? Mario Kart? Moving on though. Not enough screen time for Luigi. So Luigi's in this movie, and I really always liked Luigi as a character, and I always felt he got the short end of the stick. And he does in this movie as well, because he's not in it hardly at all. He's in it, but he's not for much. He's has the most he's in it is in the beginning, for the first 20 minutes or 25 minutes or so, and then he's in a cage for most of the movie, and then he's in it for the end for a little bit, for another 10 minutes or so. But there's a good chunk that he's just not in it. And I wish there was more. Oh yeah, the fire flower fizzling out. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, society's fizzling out, bruv. But yeah, not enough screen time for Luigi, I would say, definitely. Should have killed Frozen Bowser. So they do this is something that's sort of done in a lot of movies, but Bowser is frozen for a little bit, and there's a few opportunities where they could have just killed Bowser while he's frozen, and they don't do it. And of course he gets out and wreaks havoc. So yeah, that's just my note, is that they should have killed Frozen Bowser sooner. So it just makes practical sense, but it's a movie. I get it. That's a minor note, but still something to take into consideration, I think. Great soundtrack. They pick classic rock and songs from the 70s and whatnot, so how could you go wrong? Great soundtrack, and as well as using songs from Mario, and there's a scene with Bowser playing the piano, and he's playing the one of the themes from one of the Bowser levels, And it's just little things like that are really cool. It's like Come Jam With Me. He's like playing that song with Kamek, the little magical turtle with the hat. And I thought that was really cool. So I like the integration of the music in this was really good in general. But the soundtrack also in general was great. What about the water main break? So this is my main problem with the movie. And it's not that big of a deal, but it did bug me. I'm not going to lie. The water main break, which I mentioned previously in this review, the Mario Brothers are trying to fix. They don't address that ever again. Yes, I get that there's other things that happen that they want to address, but I would have liked to known as the audience, I would have liked to know what happened with the water main break. Because they were going to do that. That was going to be... Like, I thought that was going to be part of the movie. I think introducing a story element that you don't explain and you don't give a nice conclusion to can be distracting to the movie. And I think that hurt this movie a little bit. Just for me, anyway. Some people maybe didn't give a shit. But I was captivated by the water main break. I wanted to know what happened with it. But anyways, my last note is... How was the portal fixed? So how was the portal fixed? It gets blown up by this bomb. I forget what they're called, but the bombs with the mouths. It goes chasing Mario and it ends up blowing up the pipe portal. But then later on they can just still go back and forth. So they don't explain that either. They don't explain how it's all fixed. So just some things I would have liked to have been explained a little bit better. But overall, it's a pretty good representation of the Mario games, I would say. Alright, let's drink some water. That's my last note. So, to sum up, like I said, this movie's not perfect. There's some things that didn't make sense, but I liked it. And like I said very shortly ago, I think it's a good representation of the Mario movies. Of the Mario games. This movie is a good representation of them. But I'm going to give it a rating. Let's see, what should we give it here? I don't think it's as good as 95%, like the audience gave it on Rotten Tomatoes. But I do think it's better than 59%. So I'm going to give it, I think 7. Oh man, no, just 7. Let's just give it, I think 7 is what I feel like this deserves. Not the best movie in the world, but it looks really good. And there's definitely something of value here, especially if you like the Mario games. So the Super Mario Brothers movie, 7 out of 10 ducks.